Hello, my name is Mary Moore. I am a member of the League of Women Voters of Thurston County. The League is a nonprofit and non-partisan political organization, and our thrust is to assure that voters have the education and the information that they need to cast a knowledgeable vote. We support public policy in two ways. One is through education, the other is through advocacy. Despite our name, I want to make sure that everyone knows that men are welcome members as well as women. Today we have three candidates for the Superior Court position number 4 to talk to. I'm pleased to introduce you to Alan Miller, hello, Eric Price, and Indu Thomas. Each one of these folks is going to open with a 2-minute kind of getting to know me session, and then we have some questions to ask them. We'll have a wrap up, and we'll be done. So thank you all for coming. And Alan, would you like to kick off our discussion?
I will do that. I'm Alan Miller. I'm running for Superior Court position number 4, and I have the most experience of any of the candidates, and I was the only one that was found to be most exceptionally well qualified by the Bar Association Judicial Recommendation Committee. This is a historic election. It's unusual for 3 judges to be retiring the same year, and the loss of experience, if you total it together, is about 60 years of judicial experience. I've been an attorney in Olympia for 30 years. All of my career has been in Olympia. I've loved practicing law. But I've had an unusual career in that I've had a high quality and variety of experiences. I've been an assistant attorney general for 10 years with the state of Washington. I've been a deputy prosecuting attorney with Thurston County for 2 years, and then the rest of my practice, 18 years, has been in private practice. I've had trials in most of the counties in the state of Washington. When I was, especially with the Attorney General's office, used to travel quite a bit to Eastern Washington, and I've had trials in Western Washington, both as in public practice and private practice. I've also been in federal court and had trials in Washington, Michigan, Ohio, and New York on behalf of all on the behalf of the state of Washington. I'm known as a peacemaker in the community. I've been an arbitrator. I've been on the Thurston County Boundary Review Board. I've been on the Olympia Planning Commission, and I'm twice elected to the Olympia School Board, and we sit in quasi-judicial cases in those capacities. I've been active in the community, been past president of the Thurston County Bar Association. I've been active in the arts, helped with the Washington Center getting started, and have been on stage there. The Olympia Symphony Board, United Way Board, the Chamber of Commerce Board, and have helped create Heritage Park as part of the Capitol Campus and the West Bay Park. So I'm asking you to please join people like former Chief Justice Gary Alexander and Judges Dornan and Hicks in voting for Alan Miller for judge. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Eric?
Thank you, Mary. My name is Eric Price, and I'm running for Superior Court judge. A question I get all the time is why should I care about a judge race? Well, we have, without question, one of the best legal systems in the world. But that system is only as good as the people who are in it. And after 20 years of experience in litigating cases, I've seen the impact that judges can have. Now, I'm running for judge for 3 principal reasons. First, I have the right type of experience. I have almost 20 years of experience in litigating complex civil cases in courts all up and down this state. For the last 12 years, I've been a lawyer in one of the Northwest's most respected law firms. Now, this breadth of experience has given me the opportunity to see, touch, and feel the types of cases that this particular bench sees, especially since we've got the state capitol here. The second reason is I'm fortunate to have the respect of those who do practice in front of this bench. Today, the Thurston County Bar Association bar poll was released. The Thurston County Bar Association is an organization of local attorneys and those who practice in front of these courts. The results of that poll was a clear victory for my candidacy. I received more votes than my 2 opponents combined. Third, I know this community. I grew up here. I'm a high school graduate from Olympia High School. and I'm raising my family here. My father was actually born almost 80 years ago, not far from here at the St. Peter's Hospital. My experience makes me the best candidate for this race, but you don't have to take my word for it. Position 4 has been held for almost 22 years by the Honorable Judge Tom McPhee, one of our most respected judges. I am honored that Judge McPhee chose my candidacy for his support, calling me the best choice for this position. It is my goal to reward his confidence and the support of many others who know this legal system by being the best judge I can be. I ask for your vote.
Thank you. Indu.
Hi, my name is Indu Thomas, and I too am a candidate for Superior Court Judge, position number 4. People often ask me, why should I choose you? I have judicial experience. I'm the only candidate in the race for this position that has judicial experience. 5 years ago, the 8 judges of Superior Court appointed me to serve as your court commissioner. For the last 5 years, I have been making evidentiary rulings, making decisions, doing the work of the court. I have heard thousands of cases each year for the last 5 years. Before I was appointed to serve as your court commissioner, I worked for the executive branch of government as an assistant attorney general. I enforced the law. After that, I had the opportunity and privilege to work for the legislative branch of government. I drafted law. Why do I mention these? I'm proud to say that I've worked for all 3 branches of government. I know where the lines are, and I appreciate where the lines are. I believe in the separation of powers. Before law school, I taught elementary school in inner city Houston for a couple of years. That experience has served me well throughout my life, throughout my professional career. I bring those classroom management skills to the courtroom. My husband and I have decided to live here in Thurston County. We've raised our child here, and we are committed to this community. I have volunteered for my son's schools through the years. I have volunteered for nonprofit organizations in the community, and I have worked hard with committees at my church as well. My commitment, dedication, and proven record of fairness are the reasons why I would be honored to have your vote for Superior Court Judge, position number 4.
Thank you. Well done, all 3 of you. All right, let's get down to the brass tacks of this session. I have questions for you. We're going to start with Alan. He's the first up here. And he will have 2 minutes to answer the question. Each one of you will have 1 minute each to respond, and then we'll proceed. So, Alan, do you believe it better serves the citizens of Thurston County to have their judges elected or appointed, and why?
I definitely think that it's great that our state has chosen to elect judges. I think it's great that we are out there as candidates, and when you are a judge also, you are beholden to the electorate. There is a system in other states where judges are appointed, but I think that the judges are too far away from the people that they serve as judges to in that system. So I think that the forefathers and mothers of Washington were smart in adopting a constitution where judges are elected, and I think it's great. It's great that we have to go out and be among the voters as we seek office.
Eric, what do you think?
Well, I have to agree with Alan. I do think that electing judges is the preferred way of picking them. There are many states across this country that do it differently, and there's probably no perfect way of doing it. But I think there's some real value in the voters getting to see those of us who are running. It's difficult sometimes for us to be able to communicate the differences among ourselves. It's difficult for us to talk about the issues that people care about because of the ethical restrictions we have in terms of dealing with issues that must come before the bench, or may come before the bench rather. But I think as a whole, it makes a lot of sense because the judiciary needs to be part of the entire legal system that goes to the police, that goes to the civil courts and the criminal courts, and in partnership with the community, it makes sense for that community to have a say in who's going to be serving as judges.
Okay. Indu, what do you think?
Justice Sandra Day O'Connor has gone all over the country talking about this issue, and she proposes a system where judges are appointed and then elected for retention only. I've looked at the different systems. I am a first-time candidate, and I see the merit in having an election. I see the merit in having an appointment as well. As dissent is democracy, and so many people have different opinions about what it takes to be a judge and what the qualifications are. I don't think that I would change the system here in Thurston County at this time. I think the election process is fantastic, and I, like the other candidates, am really enjoying getting out into the community, meeting people, and frankly, the best part of it is learning all of the wonderful things that are happening here in Thurston County that I would have never been exposed to. So I would leave the system the way it is now, but I am still intrigued by the concept that Justice O'Connor forwards.
Fascinating. Okay, on to our second question, and we're going to have you up at bat, as it were. I don't know why I'm doing baseball, but today it's spring. What can I say? So, Eric, you have 2 minutes to respond. Then each one of you will have 1 minute. Currently, court rules prevent judicial candidates from revealing their positions on all public policy issues. The result is that voters are voting blind in these important matters. What is your position on this policy? Should it be retained, or would you change it? And if you would change it, how would you change it?
Well, this is what I was talking about in response to my last question. There is a bar on judges talking about the positions or policies that may come before the court. I think that's smart. I think it's important that when people come before the courts, whether they're a plaintiff or a defendant or an accused or a victim or a business or an individual, that they have the confidence that that judge hasn't pre-decided the case. And whether or not the judge is actually fair in a particular case, there needs to be an appearance of fairness. And that's important for all the participants to feel like they're not getting cheated by the system. And it's just too high of a risk, I think, to have judge candidates out there talking about their positions on a variety of issues. And then when that particular issue may come before the judge, someone says, aha, I remember you were speaking on this issue, or you took a position at this rally. It's not without its problems, though. It is I'm sure the other candidates feel my frustration when you go before groups and they say, aha, can you talk about X, Y, and Z, these political issues, particularly in a political year. So all we can do is talk about our credentials, talk about what makes us the most fit, talk about who has the confidence that we can be the best candidate for the position, and hope that the voters can research and make the right decision.
Indu, what do you think?
I actually think that it's really important for us to stay neutral. I believe the rule serves the community well. Individuals obviously care about issues, and judicial candidates and judicial officers are no different. But you set that aside when you step out into the courtroom. I have a practice of saying before I go into my courtroom, their lives, my job. And you set it all aside. You only take the judicial officer into the courtroom. I think the rule is the reason why I do that, and I think the rule is actually very well designed so that you remember to do that. Neutrality, balance, and fairness, that's absolutely what the public deserves, and that's what they'll get.
Okay, Alan?
No different answer. I agree that the Code of Judicial Conduct has it right that we should not be talking about policy issues as judicial candidates. In order to be fair to the litigants that will appear before us, we need to be neutral. We need to be a tabula rasa, a blank slate. In other words, we take in the evidence, we hear it through testimony, we hear it through exhibits, we see it through exhibits, and then we decide the issue. But I think it would be a terrible system if people knew how judges would rule before they actually hear the case. So I agree.
The current problems with the Supreme Court of the country obviously is partly behind that question. I'm sure you understand that case. All right, question number 3, Indu. This is yours. What is your perspective on, you'll like this one, on drug courts or other therapeutic kinds of courts?
Mary's right that I like this one. I have had the privilege of presiding over a juvenile drug court, a family law family treatment court, which is unique actually in the country. We are one of 2 family law family treatment courts, and the family recovery court, which has parents that are involved with dependency cases. Thurston County actually has 5 specialty courts. We have a mental health court and a veterans court in addition to our criminal drug court as well. So I guess we're at 6 now. Specialty courts are really the way that we should address substance abuse. It's proven to be far more effective. We say time and time again, we cannot incarcerate ourselves out of this problem. And we've learned now that addiction is a disease. Specialty courts really are effective. They're not easy for the participants, and it's been a privilege to have those opportunities to work with kids struggling with recovery and with parents struggling with recovery, and I look forward to having opportunities to do more. I am a member of the Washington Association of Drug Court Professionals, and I am a member of the National Association of Drug Court Professionals, and I work hard to stay on top of the latest practices so that I can bring those things right here to Thurston County. I truly believe that we should bring those programs to scale, that we should have them all across the country as we do now, but it's still not completely to scale, and we need to bring that option to all people that are struggling with recovery.
Okay, thank you. Alan, what do you think about this?
I think the therapeutic courts are great, and not only do they address the problem of recidivism of people actually being treated and getting out of the criminal justice system, but it actually costs the taxpayers less. It actually saves us money. And so I think that we should be thinking hard about other therapeutic courts to add to the system. As Indu says, we're up to 6 now, and I think it's the wave of the future. My service on the Olympia School Board certainly has shown how important education is to me, and education is to all of us. And so I'm hoping that through my service on the board, that I would be able to bring that to the court and bring education into the system, and
Okay.
Community-based therapeutic courts are great.
Thanks. Eric?
Well, I think our bench and our county commissioners deserve a lot of credit for the work they've done to establish the specialty courts in this county. I don't know the facts, but I would imagine that we have probably the more therapeutic courts per capita than any other county in this state. And Alan's absolutely right. It's a savings to the taxpayers. It's much more effective to pull the appropriate individuals into these specialty courts rather than incarcerate them and to develop treatment plans in these courts. The challenge, of course, is that there is no state funding for these courts. They're funded by grants or general fund, and that's tragic, I think. In fact, one of the things I would look forward to doing as a member of the bench is really being an advocate for these specialty courts, not within our county, but outside the county, up at the state. And I think that's an appropriate role for judges to play, frankly. It's for judges to go to people who hold the purse strings and say that this is an appropriate way to spend money.
Thank you, all 3 of you. Now we're on to our last question. And what we're going to do is just take 1 minute each, so it'll be fair. And I'll start with Alan. Okay. Do you have suggestions for improving the operation of the court system such as speeding the decisions, less cost for defendants, etc.?
Yes, definitely. I've been frustrated as an attorney, and my clients, I know, have been frustrated by the fact that judges take too long to make decisions sometimes. And I would pledge to the attorneys and to the people of the Thurston County that I would, make decisions within a week. I had a situation where there was a motion for summary judgment, and it took 90 days to get a decision from a judge saying that I find there are issues of fact. That's unacceptable, and I would not do that. Another thing that we need to do is improve the amount of jury pay. We need to. I think it's tragic, the amount of money. It hasn't increased, I think, in 50 years, the amount of money that goes to jurors. And for that type of service, I think we need to increase that amount that we're paying our people that are doing their citizens' duty.
Okay, Eric.
Boy, 1 minute to address that question.
1 minute, kiddo.
Courts have a very difficult job. They have to do more with less. And I think actually our judges do, for the most part, a fabulous job in doing what they can do with very limited resources. If I were to point to one issue that I think could permeate a lot of the problems is technology. I think the courts really, right now, our county is in a difficult spot with technology, and I think if we could put some effort into allowing the courts to improve their technology and improve their ability to manage their cases in a more efficient way, then the entire system can work better. Judges can spend more time deciding cases, more time listening and hearing witnesses, and less time trying to manage paper files. It's not easy. That in and of itself is going to take resources, but I think in the long run, it makes the entire system will work more efficiently.
Lindu.
The issue is really difficult, and one of the things that I've done as a court commissioner, and I was one of the first, is go completely paperless, and that does make things effective and more efficient. Not only for me, but for our friends in the clerk's office, because they don't have to pull the files anymore. There are things that can be done. It is a time when we are really challenged with limited resources, and we could probably use more judicial officers. Our caseloads are very high. We're all very busy, and that's what makes it difficult for us to get those decisions out in the timeframes that the attorneys who appear before us believe that we should be able to do so. The challenges continue, but we can improve our case scheduling orders, reduce the number of continuances, and definitely maximize the technology that we're using. We're working towards getting towards a case management system, and once we get there, we'll be able to be much more efficient. It seems like everything takes more of that resource, which we all have a difficulty with, and that would be time.
And money.
The money's not coming back.
Right. Okay. The three of you have done a super job, and I thank you. And you now each have 1 minute to give it your best shot and go out and get those votes. Alan, we'll start with you.
Thank you. Alan Miller, seek your vote and ask for your vote. As I stated earlier, I'm the only candidate who's been found to be exceptionally well qualified by the Judicial Recommendation Committee. And I have the most experience, 30 years of trial court experience, both at the state level and at the federal level. I have this involvement in the community, known as a peacemaker, known as a decision maker. I've taught law at Seattle University Law School, and so I just would ask you to consider that over the 30 years I practiced, there have been 7 judges who are retired, and I would bring to the bench, I think, the best of each of them. Judge Alexander's sense of history, Judge Doran's thoroughness, Judge Fuller's compassion, Judge Bershauer's affability, Judge Strophe's decisiveness, Judge Hick's intelligence, and finally Judge Pomeroy's optimism. And I ask for your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Eric.
The people have their hands full when trying to decide who to vote for in a judge race. But these races really are important. If a judge is poorly prepared, informed, or equipped to handle the difficult decisions that come before them in this court, then our entire justice system suffers. The problem is it takes a little work from the voters, but I have confidence that if the voters do their homework in this race, that the strength of my candidacy will rise to the top, as it has in the minds of Judge McPhee and many of the others who utilize these courts. I am Eric Price, and I ask for your vote.
Okay, Indu.
The work of the court is varied. I like to talk about the proportions and the ratios. 40% of the work of the court is family and juvenile work. That's the work that I do now as your court commissioner. 40% of the work is criminal work, and that is not a big stretch for me because it's the same statutes, the same case law, the same constitutional rights that the juveniles have. Just we're talking days and weeks when we're talking about juvenile offenders, and I'll need to make that adjustment to talking about incarceration in months and years with the criminal calendars. 20% of the work is civil litigation. I have some experience in some of those areas as an attorney. No one can say that they have all of the experiences that it requires to be the generalist that Superior Court judge is. I do have many of those experiences. I would be honored to have your vote and put that experience to work for this community.
Thank you very, very much. And the League thanks you for coming and being willing to talk with us. The League would also like to thank TCTV for our annual opportunities. Actually, we'll be with you again in September probably. This time we have been talking to candidates for the primary election that will come up in early August. I want to challenge all of you out there to vote knowledgeably, but also to vote in the primary election. Don't just let that election go by. Make sure that your voice is heard in the primary election. It's very important. And don't let your lack of knowledge about what judges do prevent you from voting for the judge candidates. You can go to a very good website, www.votingforjudges.org, which will tell you what judges do so you understand the job that they have to do. So I encourage you, vote, vote, vote. And thank you for watching today.